Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's April 12th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined as always by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented each morning by Life Wallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, the time is now for the final week of spring practice. And that means it's an anxious time out there at Green Tree Practice Field. I mean, the kids know what's up. They're some of them are fighting for their Miami Hurricanes futures. And, you see what's been going on at other schools where, you have these linemen from Georgia. 2 of them went into the portal. One of them is in the picture with Miami. They're trying to arrange for him to come visit South Florida, possibly later this week. And, a few days ago, they were entrenched on Georgia's football team. We see it at Oregon, where player after player has been entering the portal. John Dennis already here. A couple more could be on the way. We've seen it at UCLA. So why would anybody think that Miami would be immune from this? I mean, there's going to be guys that are going to go out on the practice field this morning, Matt, that aren't going to be here much longer, either through their own choice or, in a few cases, maybe not their own choice. But so this is crunch time of spring practice. They've had I guess now 12 drills, and we've got practices 13, 14, and 15 this week, and it's go time.
I'm not sure where the question is there, so I'm going to address the horse in the room. It's not an elephant. It's not an elephant in the room. It's the horse in the room. I'll address the horse in the room. Listen, those of you out there that are watching this, I look at the comments. I particularly enjoy the nasty comments. That's what gets me going. Who needs nice comments? Don't bother leaving them for me, okay? But I will say something, because people don't seem to understand this, okay? The biggest controversy of these upcoming now 13th spring practice, honestly, has been this perception that I'm negative. Because if you look in the Matt Shodell dictionary for the definition of negative is positive. This is what you people don't understand out there in YouTube land, okay?
You contribute to it.
You don't understand either.
You contribute. You're calling everybody that's like struggling to make the cut here. You were saying they were bad the other morning. What do you expect people to think when you use the word bad?
Let me ask you something. I just told you the definition of negative is positive in my dictionary. Do you understand why that is, or can I explain it to people?
Good.
Okay.
I'm curious myself.
Listen, it's very obvious. If you're a positive person all the time and you're like Gary Ferman and you think the team's going to win the national championship this year, and
never said that. I think it's a 3-year rebuild.
I know. I'm just putting words in your mouth.
I want to be on record. I think it's a 3-year rebuild.
The point is, you're much more quote unquote positive than I am about everything, which is great. I've been conditioned by 20 years of failure. Apparently you've disregarded that and assumed that things will just be fine now. I'm hoping that'll be the case. But the point is this. I encourage every Miami Hurricanes fan to do what I do, which is to be negative, which means to be positive. Because by being negative, you expect the worst. But then anything better than the worst is going to make you happy. And happy is a positive emotion. Do you understand? So if you're just happy, everything's going to be great, and then something's not great, you have negative emotions. I have mentally prepared myself to only have positive emotions for the coming season, no matter what happens. By preparing for the worst, you're going to be happy. It's like you go to the movies, right? Everyone tells you, oh my gosh, this is the worst movie ever. I mean, you're 80 years old. Why are you going to see the Avengers movie? You don't understand any of this. You haven't seen the first 20 Avengers movies. You're not going to understand any of it. This is a really bad idea to go to this movie, Grandma, Grandpa.
Now, people okay,
so they go to the movie. They expect a horrible movie. Guess what? If you expect the worst ever movie, it's usually not going to be that bad. And you come out of it saying, it wasn't that bad. But if you go in thinking it's going to be the greatest movie because my grandkids told me how amazing it is, oh my gosh, it's going to be the best movie I've ever seen. They're raving about it every day. They're dressing up like the characters. This movie is going to be great. And then you go to the movie. It's the same movie, but you expect it to be amazing, and now it's below average, and you think it's terrible because of that. It's all perception, my friends. So all you out there, start being negative so you can be positive. Okay, that's it. It's that simple. Be negative.
Read that off a teleprompter. You're reading off a teleprompter. There's no way you just gave that whole soliloquy off the top of your head.
It's common sense. I live by that. It's my mantra. I mean, I don't need to memorize my mantra. I'm not reading it. I didn't write it down. I'm not reading it. That's the truth.
All right. Well, we got a bunch of people driving off the road right now on their way to work who are outraged and would like for us to get back on topic. So let's do it. Spring practice. Final 3 sessions this week. The last being the spring game on Saturday. It's go time. I mean, it is. It's go time.
I'm supposed to respond to this again? Yes, it's go time, Gary. Green beans are green. It's go time. I don't know. What kind of show is this? Aren't you supposed to ask me a question, not say it's spring practice, and then silence like I'm supposed to say something? Yes, it's spring practice.
I'm kind of teeing you up for one of your rants. I got to make sure that you speak more than I speak, because if I speak
that's what this is.
Speak,
well, you know what? Let me be the host.
Crucified.
And let me be the host. Ask you some questions. That's what you should do.
Go ahead.
Because these awkward silences are just strange.
Let's go. Take the floor.
All right. So here's what I see. Okay, they've got a very large list of availability today. They've only made 4 players combined with coaches available every practice pretty much throughout the spring. Today we get 6. What that tells me is this team's terrible.
5 players and a coach.
You lost my punchline. I said what this tells me is this team's terrible, and you blew the whole line.
Give the accurate number. Go.
No. So anyway, listen, we're gonna get a chance. I was just joking. We're gonna get a chance to talk to 6 different people, including Kevin Steele. And what I'm really interested in talking to Kevin Steele about is sort of the defense was so great in the first scrimmage, not so great the second scrimmage. And I want to get some details on that. And then B, I want to find out a little bit about, from what I've heard, and this is not anything coaches have talked about, but there's a way to ask Kevin Steele that maybe he'll answer it. I've heard the defense has really installed a lot, to the point that the offense is just really out of sync at a lot of times. Like a lot of disguised stuff, disguised coverages, disguised blitzes. This is not your generic, let's just learn to play today and learn to play tomorrow. They've put in a lot of the defense, and the kids are understanding it, which is great on defense. I'd like to hear something about that. And then I also want to hone in somehow with him about the transfer portal, because I think so far they've taken 4 defensive linemen, including a commitment. They can't talk about commitments, obviously. I think they got 3 already early enrolled, maybe on defense, 2 defensive linemen. Maybe it's only 2 so far. And they got the cornerback, Porter, committed. They got the defensive end committed. They're going to get a linebacker committed pretty soon, maybe take another linebacker. So I'd like to hammer in on his thoughts just on the defensive talent, and if there are some discrepancies. Because he's looked, the first time we talked to him, he was honest. He didn't, no pie in the sky Gary Ferman stuff. It was Matt Shodell, down and dirty truth-telling by Kevin Steele, and I expect the same. Your reaction, Mr. Ferman?
I don't think you're going to get the truth, because the truth is not necessarily kind in all directions. They need better personnel. I mean, they have to come out of this period with a couple guys that are at worst rotation linebackers, if not starting linebackers. You see what they're doing on the defensive line. They can, as hard and as Jafari Harvey is trying, and he has won over the entire organization with his work ethic in spring practice. They are lacking elite talent, winning talent on the defensive line right now. So that's why you keep seeing more bodies coming in up front on both sides of the ball. Kevin Steele's not going to say that. He's not going to talk about how challenged they are at linebacker. I'm going to tell you something else, Matt. We think the safety position, and it's in a decent spot, but there's a lack of speed in the secondary too. I mean, they can't address everything right now at one time, and they're bringing in Kevin Porter to clearly start at one corner opposite what we suspect would be Tyreek Stevenson, and then Ivy, Blades, Dunson, those guys become the next level of guys that come into the game in nickel and dime situations and stuff like that. Where does that leave a guy like Marcus Clark, for example? There've been whispers that that he might be a guy that might look for a greener pasture after spring practice. There's just so much going on and you're not going to get that out of Kevin Steele today.
No.
But that's the reality. That is the reality, and we always keep it real here. And yes, I am positive. I love everything I'm seeing in the program, but I understand while I'm positive about what's going on, that there are still holes all over the place. And that's
listen. I'm the host. I'm cutting you off. I'm the host. I'm the host now. I'm cutting you off. Okay. This is what we're going to do to delve deeper into your mythological holes of the program. Okay. I'm going to go position by position, rapid fire. We're going to assign a grade based on what we've seen at each position. And this grade is not based on last year. This grade is based on our expectation coming to the spring and how well it's measured up to what we expected it to look like. Because I think most fans out there know we didn't expect much from the linebackers, the running backs. A lot of guys were going to be out. So this is based on our perception entering the spring. 13 practices in today now, and what our perception is grade-wise compared to what we expected. And an A just means basically, listen, the position could have been great, and it still is great, So that's sort of the baseline. Does that make sense, Gary?
I'm game. Whatever you want.
And anything that we're more than a grade apart difference on, I want to hone in on. Okay.
You're the boss.
Okay, I'm going first. So quarterback, I say A.
I would say absolutely A. I would say A plus at quarterback.
Okay, fine. Yeah, we're not doing any discussion. I just want grades, and we're going to hone in.
I can't qualify it with a sentence or two.
No, because we're going to come back to it afterwards if we have a difference of opinion. Fans don't need us to talk about every position.
I'm going to say A plus.
This is not the analysis of every position. We can do that after spring's over. Fine. You got A plus. I got an A. I don't give A pluses because I'm a realistic grader. Okay. Running back, I would give running back a B minus.
I would give it a B, simply because I think
I don't want the explanation.
Oh shit, I can't. Okay.
This is the rules. I'm the host.
I'll give it a B.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later if we need to. The fans understand what a B and B minus means.
I can sum up in one sentence, Matt. Can I sneak in one sentence?
No.
I'm giving it a B because Thad Franklin has really had a good spring and has worked very hard and is trying to improve his stock on the team. Go.
I'm going to tell you something I tell my children, okay? You're a very poor listener, Gary Ferman. Very poor listener.
I got to qualify this stuff. I don't know if you're coming back to it. People are going to say, why is he giving it a B? Go.
I don't know why it reminds me of this. I once yelled at my son for something he did that he shouldn't have done when he was 8. And he looked at me and he says, Dad, you've got a real anger management problem. I still sent him to his room. He deserved it. But anyway. Okay. So running back, I think fans understand this is has not been a great spring for the running backs. That's basically what we're trying to get across to you guys out there. Okay. Let's
Henry
move to
Parrish and Franklin have been fine. Go.
They haven't. Listen, I'm not going to talk about it that much, but no, Parrish and Franklin have been okay. They haven't. Usually in the spring you'll see an 80-yard touchdown or some, several long runs. It's been okay.
No, we have not seen that.
10-yard run here and there, but they haven't broken any long ones. I'm not going to get into that. Okay, wide receivers. I would give the wide receivers. This is a really good one. I actually would give the wide receivers a C plus based on my expectations.
I'll say C plus also, and only because Restrepo has been amazing.
What is with the explanations? You really don't understand how this works.
I understand. I just want people to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying, and I'm saying C plus because Restrepo. Everybody else, nobody else has stepped up and seized the moment.
That's great. Thanks for the explanation. Tight end. If I had known Will Mallory was going to be out for half of spring practice, I would say an A. With Will Mallory in before he got hurt, I would say A minus.
Ditto.
Okay. And offensive line, man, offensive line is tough, man. I almost want to say incomplete just because I feel like they're going to be getting so many new transfer guys, but they're not here yet. So I'd say
you got to give a grade. I
am.
You got to play your own game here.
I would say, based on my perception going in, that the offensive line was really not very good and was going to basically be the same O-line. They haven't impressed me that much. I'm going to say B. I'm going to go with B.
I think B is fair. Okay. I think B means that they've done better than expected. So I'll say B.
So to sum up, Mr. Positive to my left or right? How does it work when people view it? I don't know. Wherever you are, Mr. Positive has given one grade of A to the entire offense. And the offense, by the way, is the strong point of this team. Okay. This is what I want to let you people understand. This is why I'm negative to be positive, because it's the reality of the situation. Okay. We know what the team had last year. It's the same team. We have great new coaches, but it just doesn't instantaneously change in 3 or 4 months. What we've seen this spring from what we expected has been about what we thought it would be. There's been no major jump on offense. Okay. That's why I want to do these grades. Now let's move to defense. Okay. Defensive line, based on what I thought it would be, I know I can't say any sentences, but Leonard Taylor's been a disappointment, which drags us down to honestly, I would say a B-/C+ to me.
Now, I don't know that disappointment is any more fair than bad the other day, but let me give the grade and get back on point here. I'm gonna say because of Jafari Harvey, B- also.
Okay.
But I don't think that Leonard Taylor's been a disappointment. I think Leonard Taylor is, a second-year guy who hasn't played a lot of college football, who's trying to progress.
Okay. Thank you for the extracurricular sentences. Linebacker, I thought was going to be horrible. I will give it a. I'll give it a B. I'll be nice and give it a B.
I'm gonna give it what it is, and that's a C.
All right. See, that's interesting. So we'll hammer in on that after we do DBs. So the DBs, let's separate cornerback from safety, because honestly,
why would you give it linebackers a B based on what?
We're going to hammer in on this in a minute, okay?
Huh?
But let's separate secondary. Let's separate the secondary, because the safeties and the corners are two different animals in a sense. So I would give the cornerbacks an A.
Wow. I can't give them an A. The two starters aren't even on the field. I'm going to give them a B.
That's what's amazing. Remember, this is based on our expectations coming in.
I'm going to give them a B. I'm going to give them a B. I think they've had moments. I think there also have been moments where Tyler Van Dyke and an average receiver group has shredded them too. So I'll say B. I'll be nice and say B.
And now let's move over to safety. Safety, I've seen a lot of busts. I'm going C+. Based on expectations, I'm going C+.
I'm going to go B. It's one of the strengths of the team, but make no mistake, you're not going against Alabama every week. So ultimately, Miami's going to want to be faster back there, no question about it. But James Williams, how I feel about that one, and Avante's still learning, but he's not a burner either. But they are still, because they are such good football players, going to be one of the strengths of the team. So I'll go B.
Okay, but the whole point of this exercise was based on pre-expectations for the spring, where they are now. But okay,
or at least people understand.
Listen, what
the basis for the grades.
What if I told you, and I don't know if you know this or not, you probably do. What if I told you that the safeties had such a big bust in the scrimmage on Saturday that there was nobody within 10 yards of a true freshman receiver, a true freshman tight end, Jaleel Skinner, 15 yards down the field on his way to a 60-yard touchdown or whatever it was? I mean, that should not be happening with James Williams, Avante Williams, Brian Ballum. You go down the list. This should not be happening. But anyway, that's another point. So the reason, okay, so we're done with our defensive grades. This is interesting because on offense, you and I agreed within one grade of each other on every single position. But on defense, at linebacker and cornerback, we're both seeing different things. And I think that's interesting because at linebacker, it's very hard to get a read on what we're seeing, because when we're watching a lot of these drills, they're thudding and they're not doing full tackling. I know fans wanted the full tackling all spring and da-da-da. It hasn't been that way, which is okay.
What did you say they're doing? Did you say they're studying?
Thudding.
Well, thudding. Okay.
Yeah, that's how most college programs are doing.
Yeah, I thud is the word.
That.
Yeah.
But
I thought you said they're studying.
Yeah, but that makes it hard to get a gauge on the linebacker tackling. And apparently in the scrimmage, this past scrimmage, the tackling on defense was just bad all around, including the linebackers. And when you see Wayman Steed and when you see Wayman Steed and Corey Flagg as the starters and the same starters as last year, and I don't see anything different when I look at them physically from a year ago, that's why I give them probably a worse grade than you did. I just haven't seen the progress, and I know the defense seems to be playing better overall, and maybe that's why you're giving them a better grade, but now's your turn. Why did you give them such a good grade compared to me?
You talking about the linebacker?
You gave him a worse grade than me.
I gave him a worse grade than
grade than me. Okay.
Yeah,
well, I give him a B. What did you give him? I give him a B. What did you give him?
I gave him a C.
Oh, okay.
I mean, listen, you got this UCLA linebacker.
A B means that it's the same as last year, right? It's not worse.
I don't know, but you got a linebacker from UCLA coming in the portal that's going to play, and I think they're going to keep looking for more. I think they're going to keep looking for another linebacker. The kid from I think it was LSU went to Baylor. They didn't get him, but they're looking for another linebacker too. You might have two starters in the fall that aren't even on campus right now, so we'll see. But
All right.
I'll give it a C. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, you were a little harsher on there than I was for sure. I mean, listen, while I clearly just laid out the deficiencies at linebacker, these also aren't guys that have taken a big step backwards, which is why I gave them a B. Maybe I was being nice.
They are what they are. What they are. They're not going
Right,
to take.
that's what I'm saying. Correct. They're B. They're B. This is not a
No,
B.
they're C's. They're C. They're C
I think
level
here's the problem.
players.
You're giving them a C for talent for the season. I'm talking about this spring expectations coming in, Gary, and where they are now. To me, that's still a B because I thought they'd be okay, nothing great, and they are okay.
I mean, they're getting elite coaching, so they should be a little. They should be a little better.
Yeah, we haven't noticed a major difference. Anyway, and then cornerback, I gave him a high grade because I think these wide receivers are extremely talented, even though we obviously gave the receivers not a great grade. I think part of the reason we're not giving the receivers a high grade is because of the cornerbacks. And it's Al Blades and DJ Ivey who are great practice players and maybe struggle in games, but we're grading them based on 12 full practices heading into this morning. And I think they've done a great job compared to what I expected. And to Corey Couch, if I had to pick one of the probably top 5 surprises on defense, I think the Corey Couch is playing outstanding.
Agree.
Which helps elevate that grade. And and Marcus Clark's solid, man. He's solid. Look, is he going to be a shutdown corner? No, but he's good enough. He's good enough to be a second or third cornerback.
He's number 5 or 6 on this team.
Yeah, but right, because of the guys we just mentioned, with Tyreek coming back healthy eventually, and with Darryl Porter. But the fact that he was a starter last year at the end of the year, and now he's number 5 or 6, to me, that shows the progress some of these guys have made.
It also shows there might be people out there that want him that will tell him you can come here and start.
Yeah,
he might end up in the portal. But
okay. So now, do you want me to continue to be the host, or you want to take back over the hosting jobs?
Well, I think we need to take a deep breath from this experience. Quite frankly, it was somewhat traumatic. So let's take a moment.
It's great for me.
And let's hear from our friends at Life Wallet.
No, I'm taking the show
about championship mindset.
Focus on your self-love. That helps a lot. If you know how to control your self-love, then you'll be fine.
You can overcome obstacles by having faith, just keep pushing and keep moving forward.
Dark times don't last, tough people do.
A word of encouragement would be resiliency, to keep going no matter what.
Be an adversity killer. Always fight through and keep pushing when you think it's tough.
Don't let no one prove you wrong, and you always got to prove yourself right.
Stay patient, keep working, stay persistent, and your time will come.
I love this NIL program. I'm sorry. I think it's the greatest. I mean, can you imagine these kids? Seriously, they're getting a few grand a month or whatever to do these PSAs, and they're having fun doing it. NIL is great. It's getting out of control, man. When you start talking about $8 million NIL deals, like where this is going with some of these top quarterbacks and stuff. I mean,
I just think it's wrong that they've nicknamed Don Chaney Self-Love. Like, that's not right, man. Just call him Don. Leave the guy alone. Enough's enough.
All right. So anyway, so you got our grades going into the final week of spring practice, and I said it's go time this week, and I think it is. I think if you saw a pattern as Matt and I went through this exercise and gave grades, it's that there is still a long way to go, and there's an urgency to it. And because of everything that's going on that we've talked about incessantly here in the last few days. So it's go time. Big practice today out on Green Tree. We will be there this morning. We will have tons of coverage for you as always. We'll have that interview with Kevin Steele. Then we've got linebackers, Wayne Steed and Wesley Basaint that we're going to speak to. We've got defensive lineman Jacob Lickenstein. We've got 2 running backs, Henry Parrish and Thad Franklin. So we will have all of that for you guys on the website around midday. Be there or be square. All right, a couple other things that we should touch on, Matt, is the Canes got a big commitment yesterday, and from a kid from Australia, of all places, and a big offensive lineman that nobody knows anything about. He's got no stars. It's great. This kid's got no stars yet because nobody, like the guys that do these rankings, like they're not on top of this stuff the way we are here because we're Miami dedicated and all that. They have no idea who this kid is. I mean, this kid's just showing up from Australia at Miami LaSalle, hasn't played it down in the United States, and he's committed to Miami now. They did a great job recruiting this kid, and he looks the part. I mean, this kid looks like the prototypical tackle. Will he evolve into that type of athlete and player? We will see. But he's played sports his whole life in Australia. It seems like he's going to be athletic, Matt. So I like it. I think I'm not sure how he pronounces his last name, but Frankie is it Tinalau? I'll say Tinalau. The Mammoth offensive lineman from Australia is a pretty darn good take. I think it's a chance worth taking.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I think that Frankie, he's in Australia, of course, and they're very technologically advanced. So I guess he broke into the rival system because now somehow he has 3 stars. You're right; he had no stars when he committed. Now he's got 3 stars. So I think by the end of the day today,
by the
end of the day today, he'll have 4 stars. By the end of the week, he'll have 5 stars.
I guess I'm not supposed to comment on that, but I'm just like, how does he suddenly have 3 stars when he had 0 stars? What is that based on? I mean,
listen, I've always said that offers are more important than stars, and I'll go back and listen. Dimitri Stewart didn't work out for Miami, okay? But I remember back when Dimitri Stewart was being recruited, and those of you that have been following the Miami Hurricanes recruiting for the last 58 years, you'll remember Dimitri Stewart in the class of 1928, and everybody in the world was saying he doesn't have an offer. He doesn't have an offer. It's not, he's lying. And it upset his coach so much. And I wish I could remember the coach. The coach was a super nice guy. I don't know. I can't remember his name. I'm getting old. But the coach was so upset. He literally, and in those days there was no, emailing attachments or anything like that. I think he faxed it to me. I don't remember, or he dropped it off. I met him somewhere. He literally bought me 30 copies of scholarship letters, including Miami, signed by coaches that his player had received to prove that he did indeed have all these offers. So listen, sometimes perception and reality are 2 different things. And of course, Dimitri Stewart wound up being a below average special teams player, and that was about it. Now, I will add something else, though. Okay, Frankie Tinalau. This is kind of funny, and this is not in the story. I don't. You guys know I don't put everything in the story, just so you'll watch this show. That's the only reason I omit things from the story, is to force you guys to watch this horrible morning show. Okay, this is true. This is true.
It's supposed to be vice versa, by the way. We're supposed to be teasing the stories so they want to read them.
Whatever. So this is true. I swear this is true. I'm talking to the coach yesterday, and he says, it's kind of funny, because I asked him, I asked the coach, how did he wind up at your school? Because listen, what's it called? Miami LaSalle Immaculata, I think. Is that the name of the school?
Yeah.
Miami Immaculata LaSalle.
Immaculata LaSalle, yeah.
Yeah, and you've heard of Miami Central, you've heard of St. Thomas Aquinas, you've heard of all these major programs that you probably haven't heard of Immaculata LaSalle. The reason that Frankie Tinalau was at this high school, okay, is when he came from Australia, he was originally going to play in California, and he was trying to get his visa and get into this school, and the school he wanted to go to was LaSalle High School in California, and then he decided he was going to go to Florida, and when he started looking at schools, he thought that this was the sister school of the California LaSalle, and he reached out to the school, to the coach, and he explained who he was, and he was going to go to LaSalle in California. Now we want to go to LaSalle here, and they hit it off. And of course, the coach said, "Listen, just so you know, we're not a sister school. We're not affiliated with the LaSalle in California. This is not like a LaSalle system. I don't know how it is in Australia. Maybe every LaSalle in Australia is under the umbrella of what are those schools here where they're all over the place and they have a certain name. I can't remember anymore. I think Greg Mark's wife ran them for a while, but someone out there will remember, and they're going to post in the comments. That's the name of the school. I can't remember. So they're all over the place. So maybe he thought it was like that. I don't know. But that's why he's going to be playing, when he gets his visa, at LaSalle, California /Miami.
And that is it's a great story. I mean, it really is. But do you like the take as much as I do? I think it's a good take. I mean, we don't have a picture of him that I could throw up on the screen right now or whatever. But this kid looks like he's a legit, I think, 6'5", 6'6". I mean, this is a big kid that you could just see is going to be a real good looking offensive tackle. And then it'll be up to Cristobal and Mirabal to mold him into a player. But I mean, he's going to pass the look test, Matt, from the second he steps on campus.
Well, that's how he got offers. He doesn't have high school film. He's playing with guess he was playing left tackle with this club team in Australia. This 20 and over. He was 15 when he started. This 20 and over team. He was playing left tackle. Do you know who the left guard was, Gary? You probably heard his name. Did you read the story? Do you know who the left guard is?
I forget his name. His
name was Mr. Tinalau. It was his father. His father was playing left guard, and and this 15-year-old was playing left tackle. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, he goes to LaSalle because he thinks it's LaSalle in California. It's the same system. His father is his offensive line partner on the club team in Australia. He's got no high school tape, but he lands 8 or 9 offers at this point. He's not a major offer kid. USC is looking at him as an offer, but he's got some offers from, I think, where were they? Maryland and a few others. I can't. Yeah, you guys there, Gary. They have to read the story to find out the offers. Okay, there you go. We're promoting the story, but it's just kind of funny. And the Miami, Alex Mirabal is not afraid to offer off of. Holy cow! This kid is, what is he? 6'6", 310 pounds. He has a 6'10" wingspan, and I watched him work out, and he is athletic and quick, and he can move his hips and Whatever Alex Mirabal is looking for, he saw it on the workout film. He didn't need to see any game tape or whatever game tape
you can develop that.
Against them.
You absolutely can develop that.
Yeah, and that's if you're a great offensive line coach, that's really all you need. Now, with that said, somebody like that, it's probably going to take, they come in, it's going to take a year or two before they're going to play, but they could be an NFL player. That's the kind. If you have NFL, you can't teach NFL athleticism, size, quickness. You can't teach it. But you can teach technique and knowledge, and give them the knowledge they need to be an NFL tackle. And these guys don't grow on trees like this. You don't find athletic big guys like this with that kind of wingspan and that kind of strength and athleticism. You just don't find them. And that's why this is a great pickup for Miami. Fans are like, oh, he has no stars, or now 3 stars, They don't like it sometimes, but forget the stars, man. It makes me crazy how fans are so fixated on the stars. And
in this case,
how many 5 stars have worked out at How many 5 stars
really been evaluated?
How many 5 stars have worked out at Miami? Laquan Anderson, Willie Williams, Duke Johnson, and Tracy Howard, of course. But but it's not like you're hitting on 100% of 5 stars when you get them. So. Listen, trust the 3 stars, trust the 4 stars, trust the no stars. If Mario Cristobal, if it's good enough for him, man, if it's good enough for Alex Mirabal, no fan out there should be like, oh, this guy, I don't understand.
No, this one's good enough. This one's good enough to take a shot with. He looks the part, no doubt. Another guy that looks the part, Matt, is Amarius Mims. He's now, as we talked about, in the portal, and just to give everybody an update there, Miami's working hard to try to get him on campus at some point later this week. We'll see what happens there. All right. Also on the website today, before we let everybody go into their office, a couple recruiting stories, a couple kids from Tampa, Carrollwood, that both have visited Miami. Both love what they saw. You got wide receiver Brendall Richardson. He's got 40 offers right now. Let you know what kind of ability that kid has. And then also offensive tackle by the name of Clay Whedon. He also visited Miami and loved what he saw. So we give you updates on their recruitment, and obviously we will continue to follow those guys as they move forward, along with the other 275 kids that have Miami offers now that we have to follow. So it's interesting. It's a whole new ball game in Miami recruiting, Matt.
Yeah, and it's Burdell. But yeah, they this is what I was going to say. The Miami coaches, when they offer a recruit, they're not offering these just we mentioned Frank Antinella, but they're not offering projects. They're offering guys that they know they can mold into something, guys they've seen film on that they know are top quality. They're not taking chances. This is an experienced, really, really good staff, recruiting-wise, coaching-wise, as good a staff I've seen since 2001, right? We've said this already. I don't want to be too positive because you know how then you wind up getting very sad down the road, but I'm very positive about the staff. The team, so-so. But the staff is amazing. This coaching staff is off the charts, amazing. Nobody can nitpick about that. Period.
No doubt. All right, so we're heading out to spring practice. You guys go to work. We'll have all that coverage on the website for you as the morning turns into afternoon.
And remember, the time is now to be negative. Don't forget. Then you'll be happy later. The time is now to be negative. Say it. Say it out loud right now, everybody. The time is now to be negative. Say it, Gary.
I'm not saying it.
I'm
saying the time is now to let everybody go to work. How about that?
All
So
right.
for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you for joining us today and putting up with this guy. Wait a minute. No, it's wait a minute.
You're pointing to yourself, genius.
Yeah, I got to do that.
Keep pointing to yourself.
Thanks for putting up with this guy over here. We'll be back at you tomorrow morning, and again, be on the website around midday, and we'll have all that coverage for you. Have a great day, everybody.